Welcome back to Relax 24. Today I'm going to be going down memory lane and rewatching water fasting videos that I haven't watched for 16 years. So I did a first water fast in 2007, June 10th, I believe we're about to see. And for a reason I'll explain at the end of this video, I've had to delete the original ones from this channel. So now I'll rewatch and basically make commentary on myself 16 years ago. So this is going to be a bit difficult, but it's going to permit me to update my perspective of water fasting. I've water fasted almost every year since, and it's been a huge benefit to my life. So let's just jump right in and, and watch me with curly hair.
Hello, my name is Michel, and for the next 40 days, I'll be consuming only water. I've never water fasted before, but I have fasted before, so I do have experience with what I'm about to go through. In the next 3 days, this being the first day of my fast, my body will use its sugars, its reserves of sugars, and as they go, and as I become weaker and weaker, or I'll still be hungry for 3 days.
So I'll stop right here, 30 seconds in, but I'll try not to stop many times, but many things I've said, and probably many things I'll say today, are not scientific. I'm not a doctor. A lot of things I would read and then try to verbalize. As the water fast went on with the years, I've been able to more and more understand what the writings would have told me to. So when I say I've used up my sugars, there's certainly a more scientific explanation than that, but the gist of it is my body is adapting and doing something else. So let's just keep going.
I'll start burning fat and other substances in my body. And those substances will be the toxins, amongst other things, but the toxins that I have accumulated. I've lived in North America most of my life, although now I'm in Thailand, and I have been here for 2 years. I will be doing the fast in northern Thailand, more specifically in the little town of Pai in Mae Hong Son province. For those who know Thailand, that's about 4 hours north of Chiang Mai through the mountains. Behind me is the Pai River.
I had forgotten that there's a
Having lived in North America and having eaten a normal North American diet, normal as in cheeseburgers and bacon and lots of chips, I have accumulated lots of toxins. Even if I have fasted in the past, I do believe that I do have toxins. Now, some of the main reasons why I would like to fast are for my general health, for my weight as well, which is my health. Also my weight for my looks, because I do feel pudgy and I do feel a lot better about myself and I'm not carrying around this extra weight. I will be blogging or vlogging daily on ago.com and on other sites via syndication. Some specific issues that I would like to see bettered during the fast would include I'm not exactly sure what it is as a condition, but as a feeling is when I wake up in the morning, I feel that my fingers are swollen, my joints are swollen. I have been on quite a junk food binge in the last 3 months for some reason, and I think probably I'm quite toxified.
I'm pausing here with the junk food binge. It's an ongoing, I wouldn't say yo-yo, but I know that when I'm going to do a fast, I tend to overindulge. And it's going to be a lot of exploration in this post-fast, or after I'm finished rewatching these videos, I'll talk about my next fast. But right now I'm going to hold my tongue and just, unless there's something extremely wrong I've said, I think it's just good to let my 16-year-ago me do his best at the time and explain away.
I have a tendency to fast and then eat well for quite a period, and then slowly slip into, a world filled with junk food, if not filled, the occasional binge. So somehow, during that period of time, my fingers started to not feel good in the morning. Also, sadness. I experience sadness at moments. Some would call it depression. Some would call it not looking for what we have in life and seeing what we don't have. I just find myself sometimes feeling boxed in by my feelings and not being able to reach out or communicate as well as I would wish to with the world. And in the years prior when I fasted, somehow every time I did fast, I found relief from sadness as somehow I let go of something, let go of things. So detoxifying your body, I think, also lets you detox your mind. And this spiritual aspect of fasting, I will explore during the next 40 days as well. Today is just mostly an introduction, wanting to invite you to follow during the 40 days and to hopefully cheer you along if you wish to post a message, and I will answer all questions and
Still
comments
true.
as they are posted. Also like to mention very quickly that fasting and water fasting can be quite intense, and that if you don't have experience with fasting, to start slowly. I believe that I have built up some fasting experience, and even if I have eaten junk food quite a lot in the last 3 months, in the last week I've eaten nothing but mostly raw foods, I should say. I stopped there for a second because I actually ate popcorn last night. So for a week, I ate raw foods and ate well and ate less and less and drank tons of water, of course. But last night, somehow I said, okay, before going on this 40 days, I'll eat some nice, buttery, it was even microwave popcorn, probably the worst kind available. So I treated myself. But now this is day one, or I guess the middle of day one for me, of not having consumed anything but water. So tomorrow I'll explore this a little more in detail and during the next 39 days. So thank you very much for watching. And then you could RSS this or connect to this in a way in which you won't have to visit the website every day. If you have any questions about such services, please just drop me an email or say hi. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
So, tentatively, I touched the subject of sadness, and it's been an ongoing thing for, if that's 16 years ago, then the water fasting has helped, but it's still something that I had negotiated and still negotiate to this day. But the awareness brought about by meditation, especially after this water fast, not long after in Thailand, there was a long Vipassana. And that really brought about a lot of knowledge about myself. And although that didn't liberate me from sadness, it liberated me from not knowing sometimes the origins of that sadness. And I'll need to open up and talk about much more of this, perhaps in another fast. But for now, I think it's a good review of just seeing what this first fast was and going on to the second fast that I did in Costa Rica. So let's stay in Thailand.
Hello, and welcome to day 3 of my water fast. I actually did not vlog yesterday for day 2. I said I would vlog every day. I did blog about it, I wrote about it, but I didn't actually, I don't know, have the courage to make the video or have the brain power. It's just yesterday was an extremely difficult day. I felt that I was just plummeted into what felt like depression, sadness. I mean, I've on and off felt sadness in the years and bouts of depression and things of that nature. But yesterday was going from 0 to 100 and feeling quite, really out of it. But yesterday around midnight, I changed moods rather suddenly. And I believe that's when my body stopped using its supplies of sugar, or ran out of its supplies of sugars, and started burning fat. Now, I don't know if this is actually true. I'm not a medical doctor, but that's how I felt. So today, I feel much better. So I've not ate any solids in the last 3 days. Now, I'm starting to having experienced fasting before, I'm starting to have those hunger cravings where essentially, obviously I'm hungry. I have hunger cravings, but more specifically, they're little flashes that you get. Specifically, for me, at night is junk food. So I'll have flashes of Oreos or flashes of cookies, or even knowing that I have soy milk here, I'm like, ooh, soy milk, which is not a junk food. So it's an amazing process to see your body and your mind go through withdrawal from food, and to see how much we are dependent on the stimulation of food. I tend to, I think, eat with my emotions a bit. I can eat well, but sometimes if I don't feel good, I tend to grab a lot of food and stuff my face using the flavors as some kind of stimulation somehow. So I will report again tomorrow for day 4. I'm expecting tomorrow to be even better than today. Having felt in the past that the day 2 to day 3 is difficult, and the day 4 should be a lot better. This is video I shot on day one of the fast when I actually should be resting at home. I actually went out and filmed the flooding of the rice fields. I find it quite beautiful that as I rinse my body with water, that the farmers here would start flooding their fields and will be preparing their fields for the rice harvest. And I'll be filming this hopefully a few more times during the next 40 days, or I guess 38, 37 now. Wow, it's actually not just a 40-day fast now. I should look at it as a 37-day fast left. So I will show these rice fields as I find them quite beautiful, and probably they won't be mature by that period of time, this short period of time. When they are mature, it's the most beautiful green imaginable. Even the foliage that's around in Thailand is very dense and green, but the rice is almost in fluorescent green. It's absolutely beautiful. I'd also like to thank a few people today, one being Rainbow Heart, who has lent me his house while he is in America. So I have a beautiful, safe setting to fast in. And water fasting, as I have read, will necessitate bed rest, especially as I move along. So I wanted a place where I had an internet connection and a bed and a nice, safe place to stay. I'd also like to thank Jen Ryan, my partner in Yoga Yak, my partner in life as well, who has encouraged me. She is definitely supportive. Yesterday during day 2, it was quite difficult for her to be around me because it was nasty. I mean, I was feeling aggressive. I was feeling just sad at the same time as aggression. It's like an up energy with a down, and very hard to manage, and she managed putting up with me. So thank you very much. Also like to thank Chris Perazzi, who helped me with the little video dongle or gadget that permitted me to get the footage out there in the world and import it into the computer. So thank you very much for that. I wish you all a very good day, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 4.
Well, day 3 was quite interesting. Rainbow Heart passed away not long after that. Lovely soul that, very fond memories of this gentleman that I had met in Thailand. I'm not going to talk too much because it seems that I'm repeating myself. I haven't watched this in 16 years, and I have a lot of the same sort of views on fasting, which I guess is good and interesting. So let's just jump into day 4. Was there anything? Perhaps the one thing, when I said about aggression or day 2 being really hard, I think I've come to equate that with the lack of coffee. There's a big thing about, like, I'm a big coffee drinker, and now I would wean myself off before fasting, and I can kind of recognize that, no, that's coffee. That's just not water fasting. There's a big difference. So maybe more about that another time. Day 4, let's see what we have.
Hello and welcome to day 4 of my water fast. I'm feeling quite good today. In fact, I feel calm. I do feel a little bit tired, quite tired actually. I got up and it took me, at least an hour to actually fully wake up. I actually just laid on the couch for a while and waited to wake up. But I do not feel so weak. I think in the last, for day 2 and day 3, I had a feeling of weakness, which is different than a feeling of just being tired. I do, however, feel dizzy if I get up too fast. That is to be expected. I mean, when fasting on juice or doing the master cleanse, it's quite normal to feel dizzy if one gets up too fast. But, taking it easy and getting up slowly or kneeling down on one knee, which I don't need to do quite yet, actually does help a lot. So I thought for day 4 that I'd do something interesting. Let's together look at pictures of food. Beautiful, wonderful potatoes. Yes, I miss you very much. Let's just take a walk in a Thai market to see what I'm missing out on. Durian, which is a very, very smelly fruit, probably the most acquired taste in the world, is, I've actually learned to enjoy it. I've had it a few times, and it's very particular. Warms up your body, very, very special fruit. Meat sold outside is an impressive thing in Thailand. This huge cylinder is almost bigger than most watermelons. It's a jackfruit, and a jackfruit tree can have dozens of these huge things on them. It's actually a very, very, very tasty fruit.
A lot of the kanum, the dessert.
And yes, meat on a stick. Thailand is the mecca of meat on a stick. Every corner seems to have these. These are not quite cooked, but it's usually these wonderfully brown, just waiting for you meat sticks.
I would rephrase that, the wording on that sentence there.
And the sweets, of course. Sweet tooths are a universal constant. People do love their sweets. Thailand loves its sweets. Fish, fish, fish. And we're going to be coming up to what I call my fish lady, because I don't know her name, but I do know her fish. And she offers the most wonderful, spicy, very spicy fish. I think it's tap tin fish. And I've enjoyed it all year long. So, food, yeah. So I've actually stopped feeling hungry. It's not an actual hunger. There's something there, and I get pangs of wanting taste more than that feeling that you need something in the bottom of your belly. So last night, I think I did my first, I don't know how to say error or whatever, but I needed taste, so I put a little bit of soy sauce on my finger, and there I cheated. I put soy sauce into my mouth. So I had to eat it. I have ate something. So just the taste was something that I needed. Now, I'll have to be careful with that because it can escalate quite rapidly, where every sauce, spice, condiment, dust ball on the floor will be tasted just so I get the experience. But that's what I'm missing right now on day 4. Now, yesterday, a pretty funny thing happened is, I'm cleaning my body. This is a process of eliminating toxins. Now, out of this smoke cloud, what you'll see appear is someone with a huge fogger. He's essentially fogging for insects. Now, what worries me is that I believe, I don't know if it's a myth, but DDT is still legal in Thailand. So that leads me to believe that if this is not DDT, then it could very well be something harmful for me anyways.
Wow, that's happened a few times in Thailand.
It was quite impressive to see it blow into the house. So there's my little moment of joy, toxic joy for the day yesterday.
The crack in the window.
So thank you very much for everyone who has viewed this video online. Quite a lot of people have seen it. I've also posted to curezone.org, I believe. I hope I'm getting that right. Definitely will have to make sure I get my URLs right when I say them. So I am looking around and posting this in different forums, different blogs, and asking if other people have done video logs about their fasting and water fasting. So if you want to send comments via mail or if you want to do a video response, that would be really, really nice. Really interesting, I think, for everyone else. So any questions as well, I can answer on the show. And I'm looking forward to having questions. So thank you very much for viewing today, and I wish you a wonderful evening, and I'll see you tomorrow for day 5.
No, it's okay. I won't eat you. I won't eat you.
So I mentioned the fish, not spoiler, but I've since given up animal products. The second fast in Costa Rica, after that, I gave up animal products. Back and forth a few times over the years, but for the bigger part of that 16 years or 14. So let's just jump right into day 5.
Hello, and welcome to day 5 of my water fast. The biggest news to report on today is that I have a backache. In fact, my lower back is not an excruciating pain, but it's a dull sore pain-like type thing. So it's not, unmanageable. I had read that this would happen. I didn't think it would happen this early. We're only day 5, so maybe it's just a normal backache. Who knows? It seems that when the body detoxifies, there are toxins that tend to accumulate near the spine, specifically the bottom of the spine. So maybe that's what I'm releasing or starting to release. It's actually a different, qualitatively, that's well said. It's actually a different feeling than a normal backache. There's something about it of a lighter or a lightness in the pain, if that's possible. I'm mentioning this obviously to help people who will go through a water fast and might be surprised if they haven't read about water fasting before. it tends to be normal. I'd love to hear from other people who have water fasted and the experience of back pain. I'd like to know if it's going to be full-blown fun, yay, pain, back pain. Water. I've learned to love water. We hear poems about water surrounding us in beautiful, wonderful ways. Poetry is wonderful, but 5 days of drinking nothing but water brings you much closer to the element, and you feel it surrounding you. Bathing in it is refreshing. Drinking it is amazing. Being hit by a large amount of it in a waterfall is truly a fun experience. And I see this, the waterfall hitting me as the metaphor for water flowing right through me and coming through me. I also did an oral enema today. And what is an oral enema? Some people might have visualized immediately some kind of enema bag in a tube going into my mouth, but simply a liter of room temperature water with two heaping teaspoons of salt, non-iodized sea salt preferably, or I would say almost exclusively. I would even try iodized salt.
No
And what it
longer do that.
does is, because it has the same density as your blood, and again, not a doctor, so I might say these things completely off base, but this is what I remember from research. Because it has the same density as your blood, it does flow directly through your system, and that density also makes the body not prone to picking up the salt either in your intestines or your stomach. So it flushes right out without being a huge amount of salt in your body. This is something that people who do master cleanse are fully aware of. They do not do normal enemas. They do this salt water flush on a daily basis. But when I read about water fasting, no one tends to talk about these things. And actually, a friend who had water fasted for 40 days had claimed to not do this at all, which sounded crazy to me. So did water fasting at the time. But having read, it seems that 80% of what we have in our body, or the toxins in our body, or the byproducts and stuff, our waste essentially, is evacuated through our lungs. I was very surprised about that, our breath. So, and at this point, my breath is probably the potency of being able to make flowers wilt. I'm not quite sure myself, and I haven't held my friends close enough to breathe in their face, but I am burning my fat. I am in ketosis for people who have done the Atkins diet, which means that is it burning ketones or producing
Ketone
ketones?
body?
I'm not sure, but that process, this
Not
different
acidosis
digestive
ketosis.
process,
We're not the diabetic.
actually changes the way my breath smells. Woo! Aren't you happy you know that now? So this is day 5, the end of day 5. I will post this again mainly to Yoga Yak, also on blip.tv and curezone.org. And in fact, it is curezone.org. Yesterday I wasn't sure of the URL. I'm also starting to read up about other vlogs around the world or vlogging headquarter type sites. So I'll try to spread this news as much as possible. And as always, if you have questions or comments, please email me and I'll be very happy to help everyone.
So 2 comments about day 5. I no longer do oral enemas or enemas. I had read that it helps people get back their energy after the fast. I find that's completely wrong. And when it comes to toxins eliminating in the body, I think your body knows exactly what to do. And what we consider a toxin, the body is going to break down. It'll flush what it needs. I'll still have evacuations, but the body is amazing. I could watch hours and hours and hours of videos now on YouTube, and I hope to do that in the next fast. Specific videos by very brilliant doctors that are showing the exact science behind water fasting and how autophagy, the body's ability to eat its eat itself, eat its fats, but eat also the things that it needs to rebuild and gain healing. Quite fascinating. I won't go into it because I'm going to mess it up, but something to watch in another fast. So let's go to day 6. Cardboard up.
Hello and welcome to day 6 of my water fast. I'm doing this a little less high quality today, or in less of a high quality, because I'm doing it from my bed. I actually overexerted myself yesterday. I was feeling tired. Now I'm feeling way more tired. I reported on having a backache or back pain yesterday. Well, that back pain continued to increase over the day and kept me from sleeping into the night. I should say I ended up sleeping quite late. In fact, I just stayed in bed till 12:30, waking up and going back to bed. My dreams have seemed to intensified quite a lot, actually, which is not surprising. I think as you remove stimulation from your life, food being a big one, we tend to have more vivid dreams. And in fact, in the next few days, I'll be talking more about dreaming and lucid dreaming. I'm a very passionate lucid dreamer. I coach people on how to have lucid dreams. Now, how does this tie into the fast? Well, because my dreaming ability or my dream recall, more specifically, will be heightened, I'll be able to explore more of my dreams, remember them more, and work on them. So, fasting is a form, for some people, it's purely weight loss. For me, it's an exploration of, it is weight loss as well, but it also is an exploration of who I am. What am I in the sense that I consume these things, I bring these things into my body. And when you stop eating, you tend to realize how much energy goes into scavenging and finding food, and also how our emotions are tied into that. Now, freed from the emotions related to food, or at least once you're able to see them, you're able to hear your thoughts a little more clearly and see what comes up, almost like Vipassana meditation. So lucid dreaming and dreaming comes into play as in when I go to bed at night, these feelings, these things that I'm going through will come up. So there is something called dream yoga in which we record our dreams with much attention and work on them the next day. This is a form of listening to part of our subconscious, part of, some would say, the divinity within. So I think I should mention this in the next few days. So the dreams have become more vivid, day 6. I'd also like to address the comments by some friends that are saying that I'm completely crazy. It's just funny how we will see our friends eat tons of potato chips, hot dogs, bologna, fried foods, all these things, alcohol, pills, all these things that we know are, not good for us, that I do consume myself. But it's funny if I would pick up an armful of potato chips and 5 liters of cola, I don't think any of my friends would actually say, that's a bit silly. You're gonna binge on junk food. But when we decide to do something that's quite natural, it tends to scare people. And I think the reason it scares people is that we're led to believe that fasting, not taking any food in, can lead to very dangerous things. And it can, I guess, for some people if you're not prepared. And I'm watching myself quite closely. I'm a minute's walk from a hospital, in fact. But the point being that our media, our society, especially in North America, and I can see that play here in Thailand as well, but most certainly in North America, where people are drilled and drilled and drilled about food, even supplements and vitamins and all these things that are pseudo-medical. There are definitely a place for vitamins and things like that, but even that in the last few years has been aggressively pursued by the pharmaceutical companies, whereas very natural products are now being restricted for sale by natural therapists and such. The audio disturbance that you hear and why not talk about it instead of just stopping, is going to be it's a truck, a normal little pickup truck with huge speakers on it. Most probably there's an election that's about to go on, and someone with a microphone is extolling the virtues of voting for X or X person. Now, this goes on for elections a little more louder, but they also have people selling, I don't know, curtain rods or new gutter cleaning, and this seems to be a form of advertisement in Thailand, where someone with, I hope you can actually still hear me, that is very loud. It's slowly going away. It's a normal form of advertising where a truck will just belt out very loudly information. And unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, I don't speak Thai very well, so I don't understand quite what's being said. Other than that, for day 6, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. There is perhaps one last little thing. It would
be the calm that I am feeling, and it tends to be enlightening to find this calm. How can I be more precise about this? It just seems like the volume has been turned down in my head. I don't feel like I'm running around like a squirrel so much, and I tend to perhaps take on too much at times. But the fast has brought on a feeling of relaxation. Although today I seem to be obsessing about hamburgers and pogos for some reason. Thank you very much, and I hope that I'll find you tomorrow for my first week, day 7. And as usual, if you have any questions or comments, don't be shy to contact me. Good evening. I'm happy to hear myself 16 years ago say the word relaxation. Some may know that Yoga gave way to Relax 24. It seemed to be very popular, filming nature, and the yoga was better covered by other people, and I started doing more of the relaxation videos. So I'm glad to bring back a sort of meditation into discussion for relaxation, fasting, and all of these things work together for achieving relaxation. So let's jump to day 7.
Hello, and welcome to day 7 of my 40-day water fast. Well, during the course of yesterday's vlog, I spoke about back pain, the day before actually as well. The back pain intensified last night, and strangely enough, it intensified only when I went to bed. And I ended up going to bed at a crazy hour. It was at least 5 or 6 in the morning. I had some form of surge of energy that came mysteriously in the evening for some reason, even if I had been up early-ish in the day, I think. Or wait, did I sleep late? Oh, I don't remember, but the surge was absolutely weird no matter what time I would have gotten up. So the back pain when I woke up was actually almost gone. It's just a low-level little ache. I had posted to curezone.org about the possible reasons for the backache, and I had a suggestion that I should have an enema. So I did have an oral enema today, and that reminds me that I think it was the second vlog I did. I spoke about the oral enema without precisely describing what it was. So essentially today I took 2 teaspoons of sea salt in 1 liter of water and drank a bottle of it in one gargle right down one time. And essentially it flushes right through your body, and someone thought that maybe the toxins near my lower back would be flushed out, and that would help. There was also a comment about it being related to my kidneys and me not drinking enough water. So I'm going to be drinking more water, which is hard to imagine since I'm drinking constantly. My mouth is constantly pasty, and I'm just trying to take away the thirst by drinking. I'm going to research slightly about adding maybe a little bit of lime to my water, a tiny little bit. I mean, even Gandhi did this during his fast, or so says the Gandhi movie, but just to add a tiny little bit of something different than the plain taste of water, because it's becoming quite, it's not that pleasing. So
I'm going to stop myself here at 219. It's the specific taste is only because it's not distilled water. Now, your ability to taste things go up amazingly. And so 2 things about distilled water, the taste and the dizziness. Somehow distilled water helps body carry more oxygen, I had read, and it's absolutely true. And I would never go back to drinking anything else than distilled water when I water fast. There's science behind this. I know people at some point said it leaches your body of certain minerals and things like that, but I think updates to that is that it's not that. And physically, I feel so different when I drink distilled water. So the taste, there's no taste. So I must be able to taste non-distilled or things in non-distilled water, and that's what I'm talking about. Because distilled water, I don't have like weird taste in my mouth.
So what was interesting with the Master Cleanse last year was that I permitted myself to drink tea, and somehow I'm being perhaps a little too hardcore this year, where I'm really, really sticking to water and water only. So maybe I should, after this week, because this is my first week, to
give myself some room and be a little more gentle with me and have peppermint tea, for example, which is quite good for the body. Weighed myself yesterday, so this weight would be different today, but I am 83.3 kilos or 184 pounds. So we see that has been a slight reduction. I think that's almost 10 pounds or in that area of since day one. So I might be weighing myself a little bit more as we go on. I remember reading that to be not the real weight loss, but some major weight loss can happen after day 10, which actually contradicts a little bit of what I've been reading on the forum on curezone.org, where people tend to lose weight in the beginning, and some people actually complain, which is funny, about not losing weight as they move forward. Also looking forward into the next few days to move into another period that will be more intense of cleansing. I'm told that this is when the body will start doing deeper and deeper cleaning of itself. In fact, I read recently that it takes up to 21 days of fasting for the liver to release DDT. And DDT, as I said this week, is still legal in Thailand. I hope I'm not spreading this rumor. I was told that. It's very possible that it's not. But so if I would have come in contact with substances such as DDT or very powerful chemicals, it's going to be in this 10, 20, 25-day period that it's going to flush out. And lastly, I think I'd like to just mention that I'm also feeling calm, which I spoke of yesterday. It's a sleepiness/calm, but it's also a sort of an acuity of thought where I was having some conflict in my life, in my personal life. Yet I seem to be able to stay a little more calm and maybe open to listening. Maybe it's because I'm tired, but I truly think there's something different in my perception of the world that surrounds me. So I mentioned this specifically for those who don't eat for 12 hours, because it happens to all of us at one point. We can't get to food, and we really need to get to food in that 12 hours, and our mind is not straight. It is, where is that food? And we feel very much, it's an urgency. After the first 4 days, I was no longer feeling urgently that I needed food or at all. And interestingly enough, at 7 days, you have no hunger. So that concludes day 7, and I hope that you will join me tomorrow for the beginning of week number 2 on my 40-day water fast. Thank you, Nancy, for commenting on the video and telling me that it is informative. If you have any questions, or anyone has any questions, as always, I'm an email or a post away, and the main blog being at yogayak.com. Thank you. Hello, and welcome to day 8 of my 40-day water fast. You're seeing Pai in the Morning, the northern Thailand little town in which I am presently staying, and it's also called the Land of the Mist Dream. And you are actually seeing the mist burn off on what was going to be a very beautiful day. I'd like to thank Megan for an email that she sent me last night. She's starting a 2-week fast tomorrow, so good luck with that, Megan. And just to talk about her worries a little bit, she says she'd fasted in the past, but had very much difficulty day 2, I believe, perhaps day 1. Those are the most difficult days. Your body is in an extremely difficult transition between burning the rest of its sugars that it has accumulated to burning fats. And you will feel hungry. Your mind will be in that normal state that we get into when we stop eating for a little while. It's like, gotta find food. That don't talk to me, I haven't eaten feeling, that type of thing. There is a transition that is remarkable, that if you can hang on just long enough, between day 3 and day 2 and day 3, there is a little switch that changes. For me, it was day 2 was a horrible day. Then around midnight, I believe it was, it's just something cleared, and all of a sudden I felt more human again. And then day 3 saw gradually getting better and better in that sense. Day 4, day 5. So I'm day 8 now, and today I actually went to the market. I tend not to go out so much. And wasn't bothered at all by the sights of food or that wonderful smelling fried chicken that was everywhere at the market. It is definitely tempting. The smells are much more intense. And obviously the memories of all the foods that I like, greasy, fat food and the likes of that. But it's different. It's not one of those, I need it. It's one of those, I crave it. And it's very interesting to see our bodies and our minds, I guess specifically our minds, work in that way when it smells something that it remembers. Also, she was asking if, I don't know if she asked, but she mentioned or she hoped that she would have the ability to continue a normal social life. I'm not too sure. It depends on your social life. If you're into slam dancing, maybe not so much. I myself, as I've said, stay home a lot at my friend's house that he's letting me stay at. I tend to lay down a lot as much as possible, but I guess, tend to work 8 hours a day sitting at the computer. I also have a wireless laptop that I can bring into the bedroom and work out of the bed, but I tend to work on my main computer that has all my information on. And that is tiring to a certain extent, and sometimes I do get a little bit exhausted, and I should be careful with that. And there's also a period in the evening where if I work too late, somehow my sleep cycle, I don't know, doesn't kick in, or rather if I pass 1 o'clock in the morning, I'll be up till 4. And I get this energy at night, very strangely. So the new addition today, day 8, is lime. I'm going to add a tiny little bit of lime, maybe half a lime, 1 lime to a 2-liter bottle of water, 1.5-liter bottle of water. For taste, because it makes it more palatable.
Still takes care of that.
And yeah. Also like to remark, I forget the gentleman's name, but he commented on my post on curezone.org about my back pain, which I'll touch on just briefly. The recipe was chopped up fresh watermelon seed tea. So I steeped watermelon seeds in hot water and drank that, and it actually gave me relief. So the back pain was in fact pain from my kidneys. I don't know if I've ever experienced kidney pain before, so I was calling it back pain. But you can kind of feel the difference between back pain and kidney pain, I guess now. Maybe that's, I had reported on feeling a lightness or a cleaning type feeling from it, which for my back, but I guess it's my kidneys. So I should be careful with that. His suggestion was also to drink a lot of water. Now I have also read in another post that drinking too much water will switch my electrolytes or throw my electrolytes out of balance. So, the internet's a great thing, and we have to consume as much as we can the information and filter it, but it's getting difficult to know exactly what I should do. But it was clear, though, on another forum that I should not take a steam bath. I was considering going to a wonderful place here that is very inexpensive, where they'll steam you up for $1. And was advised by this post not to do this because it was too hard on the heart and actually dehydrating. So no steam baths for me. So as always, questions, comments, suggestions, anything at all, the email is michel@yogayak.com, and the main blog is at yogayak.com. So I wish everyone a wonderful day, evening, nice sleep, and I will see you tomorrow for day 9.
I find it fascinating how I repeat myself 16 years after. So the back pain and the I mentioned how it wasn't lower, like the spinal cord or the spine. It was the kidneys. But hot bottles of water help that feeling. So if you're water fasting and you have lower back pain, 2 bottles filled with hot water really help out with that. So let's jump over to day 9.
Hello and welcome to day 9 of my 40-day water fast. Not much to report on today. Perhaps, maybe. I couldn't sleep last night. I ended up going to bed at dawn, and this is probably the 3rd time this has happened. I am very much of a night owl, and this is not something that's extraordinary for me, but somehow I get this surge of energy at night. And even during the day, I seem to be getting more and more energy. Having said that, I feel that I have energy, yet when I try to do something energetic, it's quite apparent that I couldn't keep it up for a long time. Opening up a coconut for a loved one today left me nearly out of breath. It was a particularly hard coconut, not to, yeah. So, other than that, I have been having less of a back pain. I had some probably kidney problems. They're actually not problems at all. I'm actually filtering things out, so my kidneys are working overtime, and I can feel them working. I find that problematic when I'm in pain, but everything is certainly going on as planned, and my body is detoxifying, burning off its toxins. Now, perhaps the only thing I should mention for the back is that the watermelon seeds seem to really have helped. That is, crushing watermelon seeds or cutting them up and making a tea out of it. I've only done this once, but it seemed to have a little bit of a lasting effect, even if it's only psychosomatic, psychosomatic. And the drinking of water, I've added a little bit of lemon or lime, more precisely. In Thailand, actually, it's sort of a lemon lime. It's not just lime, it's not just lemon, it's that middle ground, it seems. And it seems to have given me a little bit more urge to drink, or not an urge, but an ability to drink more, which is quite important to flush.
Again, distilled.
It's funny, when I started
Better.
drinking the lime, I actually burped a bit, and I farted last night for the first time in 10 days, 9 days. So it's, I hope it's not actually a form of food. I understand that it's not, but it's definitely felt like there's something, because there is a cleansing property to it, having done the master cleanse. But I didn't think that half a lemon in a liter and a half of water would actually have made a difference, but it did. Organizing things is a little bit more difficult when you're water fasting. It's true you don't have to organize for preparing food, but it's a little difficult to find the energy to do stuff. The drive is not perfectly there. And I remember Megan's question about whether or not her social life would be affected, but couch visiting a friend in the couch is fine, and normal social activities of visiting friends, playing cards, maybe things like that. Sitting down actually gets a little uncomfortable for a while, but I think it's because after a year and a half in Thailand, this is actually the first time I've experienced chairs very often. Usually I sit on the ground, very much Thai style. So I wish everyone a wonderful day, and tomorrow will be a little mini milestone. I feel like day 10 is 1/4 the way, so I'm excited about that. Sleep well, sweet dreams, and I shall talk to you later.
Let's jump into day 10. I don't think I have anything to add, and now I'm hesitating to say anything because I seem to say things in the next video of whatever I would have brought on.
Hello, and welcome to day 11 of my water fast. Actually, I didn't do a vlog yesterday. I wrote about it. The reason being is the night before, stayed up till 8 o'clock in the morning, slept most of the day, got up, ended up falling asleep on the couch, woke up around 11:30, and it was near midnight, and the actual vlog takes sometimes close to 2 hours. It shouldn't, if I had the right tools. I think one piece of software that I should be using is a Vlogit that I used to have, but lost the register code. Long story short. But I was just too tired to actually pull it off, and I didn't want to risk staying up past midnight so that I would have that surge of energy that tends to make me stay up all night. I mean, it's nice to have that energy boost at night sometimes, but it was really nice to sleep a real night. My dreams were much more clear and much more, vivid as well. One thing to report on, perhaps, as I get a little closer, is my face has broken out. And actually, I'm surprised it took 11 days for my face to break out. I mean, it's normal that as we get rid of toxins, it'll be through every which way possible.
Popular the time that word toxins. I don't know now.
Pimples with getting rid of toxins. Yet my face was pretty clear until yesterday, and it started breaking out a little bit more than usual. One thing I'd like to hit on as well is I don't look weak. I don't feel all that weak. I don't do that much exercise, but I did go around town today to do a few little errands. But I think if I looked near death, I might get more ratings. Or I think if everything was a struggle, And if I kept drinking water during it,
plastic.
people would tune in more. But I'm feeling quite well. I do tend to slightly censor myself, I think, because I have good friends watching, and most importantly, my parents. It seems that they're very worried about me. My mom is very worried, rightfully so. This is a strange thing that she's from Canada, and it's a strange thing that it's not part of the culture in North America to fast. If my mother was Indian, then I think it would be, oh, of course you're fasting. And if my mother was from many countries, in fact, short fasts are very much part of many, many cultures. But in North America, we are so drilled to buy that 24-piece bucket of fried chicken that we think that, it's necessary to eat large amounts and constantly and always. And these things like eating or not eating are completely foreign. So what have I censored maybe? And I guess I'll be not censoring myself. Maybe sometimes waves of emotions. I would have described them more as I was feeling them. Now I seem removed from them. But sometimes my emotional state is fragile, much maybe more so than normal. So that's one thing to report on during the fast. But that's a small aside, I think. So yeah, that's basically it. Day 11, I'm going to continue on to the other days and move on. And as always, any questions or comments, please email me at michel@yogayak.com, or if you go to Yogayak, just hit the contact us form, and that will happen. So have a wonderful evening, day, afternoon, morning, and I shall see you tomorrow for day 11.
I say day 11 at the end, but that was day 11, so back for day 12. Curezone.org, I always go back for that one description of how it takes 2 days, 3 days for your body to switch over to fats, and then up to day 11, something happens, and day 21, then by day 30, 32, 35, hunger should come out. But and it's more described than that in more details, but it's been bang on like every year that I've done a water fast, and I look at that list, it's like, oh, it's coming up day 21. Look, my joints are gonna hurt more as my body kind of heals different things. So it's absolutely fascinating how these things happen on a very regular time frame.
Hello and welcome to day 12 of my 40-day fast. Today I'm in the middle of a rice field. It's actually the rice field that was right next to the one featured in episode 3 of my 40-day fast. In fact, I had filmed it the first day of my water fast, but I think it only went up in day 3. That is, the field that was being flooded. I find it nice here. I find it that I can actually see that there's a progression in what is being planted. The water is flooding everything and things are growing. It kind of makes me feel good. I started out the fast with the rice. I'd actually never sat in a rice field and had a good look around. It's pretty interesting. In the little time that I was here, I saw a tiny little frog. In fact, it might be near my feet again. I've actually seen crabs walking around because they don't fly very well. But I knew these little creatures were living here, but it's something else to see them and be part of this. So, yeah, as the water brings life, everything just lives. Water. I'm obsessed by water. I wonder why. So again, last night I had a hard time sleeping. I did go to bed around, probably 1 or 2 o'clock, 1:30, and I just couldn't sleep. So I'm starting to think it's above and beyond my normal night owl tendencies. I don't know, it just seems to be very energetic, this part of the fast. Today I drove around for quite a long time, visiting different areas, and it seemed as the fresh air hit my face that I was getting more and more energy. I guess I'll have to be careful about that and try to rest a bit more. Or not. I mean, I somehow was just anticipating to be bedridden and not being able to get out of bed. Now I know even if I do have the energy to run around and do jumping jacks and somersaults, that it would be best for my body if I were to lay down and rest more. If I'm going to be doing the effort of a 40-day water fast, why not let the body heal instead of, deploying energy for just day-to-day affairs?
As always, questions or comments, please email me at michel@yogayak.com. And that's it. Have a wonderful evening, day, night, afternoon.
So let's jump to day 13 here.
Hello, and welcome to day 13 of my water fast. Again, late night to bed last night. This energy boost at night, keeping me awake. Now, I did go to bed around 5 o'clock, and I got up around 1 o'clock maybe. But I did significantly had an energy drop in the afternoon related to something in my belly, gurgling, gargling, slight pain. And what I really wanted to do at that point was to do a salt water enema, an oral enema. Now, I didn't do that then because I was a little too ill, and it has a tendency of making me not feel so good. It's a short period of not feeling so good as the salt water rushes through your body, but after that it feels quite good to have whatever is ailing you. So I do recommend it for people who are fasting.
I left out a word there, is the flush out of whatever is ailing you, but your body will fix that itself. So I've water fasted many times since, and one of the amazing things is you'll feel completely crappy, and sometimes to the point where you're questioning whether or not it's time to stop the fast, but that's exactly the time to continue. And again, you need medical supervision and other things to get this right in the beginning, or to have confidence in yourself, but it is your body's process of elimination and fighting or healing and digesting things that are not necessarily needed anymore in your body that brings up pain sometimes and discomfort. The physical aspect of what did I read is when the body will, as it dissolve or heal certain things, of the nerves surrounding the area being healed will flare up. So pain is part of the healing, and it's after a few years of doing the fast, you recognize that and you're almost thankful, and it goes away. And then sometimes you will have an evacuation, but it goes away, and then you feel so much better after. So it's almost thanking your body for, like, hey, you found out what's wrong, you're working on it, I'll let you do that thing. I have confidence in you and the process. Let's keep going on.
It is a staple of the Master Cleanse to do this every morning. But since I've been reading about water fasting, it seems to be something that's not absolutely necessary, which I would hazard to say that it is very good once in a while, perhaps even necessary, but I am doing every 2-3 days just to see what happens. And interestingly enough, and let's just be adults about this, I had a bowel movement today without any water flushing or anything, which is surprising. After 13 days of not eating, it's actually not that surprising. My body is getting rid of what's impacted in my colon, and also what's body fat and all these types of things. So today's special event is I'm going to do the salt water oral enema. Now, I've spoken about this in the past, and I just wanted to make it clear what I do, because I do believe that it can help people, especially if you're in distress, if you feel like there's something really wrong with your belly. Maybe that's not always the right thing to do, but you do get a feeling. If it's not a serious pain, it's not a serious thing, there's gurgling, stuff wants to move, and you just want to give it a hand. Recommend, not necessarily this brand of salt, but non-iodized salt, very important. Non-iodized sea salt. And what I'm going to do is prepare
I don't know.
2 wonderful teaspoons of this, and to demonstrate fully, I'm going to make sure that these are piping full teaspoons, and a 1. I've never done a cooking show. This is the closest. Today we prepare salt. And 2. Now so here's what I do is I put it into a small little container, and then find a way to put it into a bottle. Usually I work it out quite well. Now, I've already prepared a bottle of salt water, and I've actually prepared it earlier today because I was considering of doing it. And if you live with others, it's a good consideration to actually write on it that it's extremely salty water, and that if they drink it accidentally, it could be a little irked at you. So I put that label on it. So I
I know this is not going to be interesting.
Do I do this?
You might want to change channels.
I do
Click
this on
stop.
camera.
But you usually just down it in one nice big gulp. And then after that, you reach for, normal water. So here goes. Bottoms up. I usually take a deep breath. This is where pranayama comes in. Breathing
I'm like a
exercises.
ventriloquist and talk during this here, but so it does. It's super salty water. Your body doesn't absorb it. Oh, I do this. I do this. So the weight had gone down. Here we go. 14 pounds. The salt water, I used to like it, but it's just not necessary. Again, it's like the teas or lime, not necessary.
Yeah.
The less that you need to
Excuse
do
me?
during water fast, the better, I think. Yeah.
It's wonderful. I
Yeah,
recommend it
not
to
so much.
everyone. Oh, just had a salt lick. Make everything more complete. So, it doesn't feel good going in. Tastes good, rather. It doesn't feel bad at all. I do feel it go down my stomach. I'm going to burp right now. And as it goes down, it'll go into my large intestine. Now, this is the difference between an oral enema and an anal enema. Whereas you would inject water, coffee. Olive oil actually is used for enemas, is in your rectum, is that it fills only your
Actually, it's
large
small
intestine.
intestine.
Now, this will actually rinse through my small intestine as well, rush into my large ones.
Only one.
Now, as I touch my belly, I will be feeling it go down. And I usually do exercises of just, making your belly go in and out, in and out, in and out. There's an exercise called, is it Kapalabhati, I think? I'm not quite sure, but there is a breathing exercise in which we forcefully expel the air, and then we sort of bring our belly up and in, and that actually maybe would work quite well. I do a variant of that. So I will let that go down, and probably within 15 minutes, I'll have the urge to go to the washroom, and it's going to flush everything out of my body. Aren't you happy I shared? It is, though, I think, a very good thing to know because it can be very, very, very helpful. So tomorrow marks the 2-week point for the fast, and Sunday night I'm invited to a birthday party. So it'll be interesting, to go to a festivity full of absolutely delicious Thai food on day 16 of a water fast. But I'm actually feeling quite resilient when it comes to not... Actually, I have to be honest. I'm going to come clean now. I mean, I only tell you and no one else, but I ate a little square of chocolate that was in the fridge last night, and I felt pain from it. It actually had probably half a raisin and a bit of nuts, and I nibbled it, and I didn't chomp it down, but it was too tempting. I just needed to taste something. A drop of soy sauce wasn't going to do it. So... I've come clean. So it's very difficult. I'm a nibbler. I'll take tiny little pieces of things, and maybe that was a little bit too much, but I have to be easy on myself. That's all for today. If anyone has questions or comments, as usual, my email is michel@ago.com. And thank you everyone who has asked questions, or even just encouraging emails are fun to know. If you're fasting yourself, how is the fast going? If you're watching this at a much later date, just add your video comments or a written comment wherever you found this, and let's together help others.
Video
Thank you very much.
comments.
Good night.
Was this even on YouTube at the time? Because YouTube was out. I don't remember it. Like, I don't remember it being on YouTube. It was such a yoga thing. So let's jump over to day 14.
Hello and welcome to day 14 of my 40-day water fast. Yesterday I drank salt water on camera and received some comments about that. It is the thing to do when you're doing a master cleanse every day, and someone commented that is doing a master cleanse and has done a master cleanse that she does the exact same face, or she makes the exact same face. I think we should dub it the salty face, But even with that disgusting face or the disgusting taste of the salt water, the effects are so immediate. I mean, yesterday when I did this,
I passed some extremely dark waters, black. So during the day when I felt uncomfortable, some kind of toxicity pocket or some kind of strong release of toxins would have happened. They were in me, and since there's no food pushing things out, they would have stayed there until, eventually they would have made themselves out. Yeah, I'm gonna cut myself off 54 seconds there. They won't. They might stay there, but your body is working on extracting all those things that I'm saying that are bad and transferring, not converting. How do you say the word? To basically transform them into usable things for the body. Again, I'm going to do another water fast in the coming months or maybe earlier. And I'm going to be doing reaction videos to the tons of really high-end or highly explained videos on how the body is actually using its wastes to create things that are building blocks for healing. So here I'm saying that I felt something and I wanted to flush it out really quick. It's going to stay there forever. That's not the case. Since that water fast, I don't do that anymore, and I just have confidence that my body's doing the right thing. But the water just flows it or pushes it out, and it flows. So also, I had a question of why 40 days? Well, in fact, I should be precise. It would be silly of me to just make a date and say 40 days. Water fasting is something that you do until your body says, I am now hungry. And obviously now I keep speaking of having cravings for food, but I can distinguish between having a craving for a food and an actual hunger. So I crave the taste, I crave the biting, I crave the tasty chewing action, but I'm not actually hungry. So if it's tomorrow and I'm hungry and I know it, I will end this fast. But why did I sort of decide 40 days, or why am I aiming perhaps for 40 days? She was wondering if it was a biblical reference, or it seems to be the term that's thrown around, 40 days. Somehow, yes, the Bible and Jesus would have fasted for 40 days. Also, I did a 40-day master cleanse last year and found that quite enjoyable. So I thought, why not 40 days of water this year? So that is my loose goal. But so I hope that answers the question. So seemingly it's not scientific, but it seemed like an appropriate day, appropriate amount of time, and a magical number, 40 for some reason. Now, I had a comment regarding my use of lime. Well, even if this little guy fell out of a tree, because there's limes growing everywhere in Thailand, into my little basket, I'm not going to consume it. Now, I thought it was extreme when I first read the letter. The gentleman said, he's disappointed that I'm taking other things into my body and that I should stop calling it a water fast. I'm like, well, it's just lime. And then I thought, I had been increasing the lime in my water, and it's because I do crave some form of taste of something. So, no more lime, pure water. And in fact, it's not even pure water. As you've seen yesterday, I drink bottles out of plastic bottles. In Thailand, there are no glass bottles, and I do not have a water distiller, nor is there distilled water at my disposal. I'm told that distilled water is the best way to go. I think the reason was it has a very strong attractive force that helps take the toxins out of the body. Uncertain of that, but I would have used distilled water. So I'm using plastic, or bottled water in plastic. Bottled water in plastic. Water bottled in plastic. Water contained in plastic. And I wish that were not so, but we do what we can. And I think the overriding benefit of the fast, even if it's in plastic, makes it that. So that's all for today. A quick thing. I'm actually trying to take the day off. I'm going to try to rest more and more. I've actually been working 8 to 10 hours a day until 5 or 6 in the morning sometimes on my other projects, mainly Yogayak, which reminds me, questions or comments, you can email me at michel@yogayak.com, and I'd love to reply. So until tomorrow, I wish you a wonderful evening, night, morning, afternoon. Bye-bye.
So let's go on to day 15. Now, I'm glad I mentioned distilled, but I still hadn't experienced distilled at that point. If I had, I would just not even fast without distilled water. It's just such a strong difference. No dizziness, no taste. It makes the fasting much more pleasant. So let's go on to day 15.
Hello and welcome to day 15 of my 40-day water fast. Well, today I went to my friend's birthday party. There's probably about 20-25 people in attendance. A beautiful table filled with food, mostly vegetarian, lovely delights. They were frying up garlic and people's eyes were watering and sneezing. If you've visited Thailand before, it seems that when people do fry up garlic, it spreads this beautiful aroma, but it makes you sneeze for some reason or another. So I didn't have much difficulty with staying away from the food. In fact, I didn't want to stay away. I went to the table and looked at everything, and it didn't shove my nose to smell things, but had a good look and enjoyed watching people enjoy themselves. An hour after that, time came for the birthday cake, and of course, birthday cake was passed around, and I was offered cake as I was offered food, obviously. My Thai hostess, whose birthday it was, didn't really understand what the fasting was, as many Thais and other people from the Lisu Hill tribe, for example, just don't really have that in this culture. Of course, there's Thais that must fast, but it's not a common thing to discuss. So trying to say, I'm not eating, I'm fasting, is a kind of a weird thing. Now, the thing that struck me most was my feeling of not alienation, but this, you're set aside because you're not eating. People talking to me, I'm integrated is all well, but it's really just plain weird to be there with nothing in your hand. And in fact, at one point, to make a joke with on a friend who had put his ice cream covered chocolate cake that had the density of fudge. Well, I grabbed it and held it in my hand, and as I held it in my hands, I actually felt better, part of the group. So this is part of water fasting. It's observing how food is part of us, part of the exchange, part of the smiles, part of the yum. It connects people who don't necessarily have the same language. And to remove yourself from that is a nifty experiment once in a while. Another thing I'd like to mention is just people are very curious, obviously. I am blessed to be living in a place where people know what fasting is. Many people have tried it. They are surprised that I'm doing a water fast and that I have been doing it for 15 days, but they do understand. They had many questions, some, very, very interesting in respects to, was it a spiritual endeavor? How do I feel? What are the changes I'm going through? And some were just, quite simple, but it was very enjoyable to answer them all. I mention this because I think if I were in North America, even just from the emails I get from my North American friends, I would get much more of a, you're dumb, you're stupid, why are you doing this? You're hurting your body. They would have gone on and on. And I have a friend who mentioned to not, hi Nathan, who mentioned not to tell anyone you're fasting until you're done. I think you have to gauge who you tell and where you are and what's going on. I think it would be very difficult to be amongst people that think that it is extremely stupid to fast and to see them every day while the fast goes on. They will wear you down, I do believe. But I am supported, so I can't really speak for that as a complete fact. Sorry about yesterday, by the way. Day 14 was posted to CureZone. There was an error in uploading in CureZone, so the video actually never really played there. Also, at the same time, I made an error on yogayak.com. Made a little typo, so day 14 didn't show up on Yogayak. And as well, for the last week, the main page for my vlog, yogayak.com/Michel, was actually reporting an error. You could still sort of navigate around, but it gave you an error. Fix those things, and thank you very much for those who actually said, what's wrong? I was curious to see the video, because it is interesting. It talks about, am I cheating with lime, or had I been cheating with lime, which I do believe I had been, but the salt still remains as a question. The salt water flush, there's the debate that I'd like to really get an answer to, and I started posting about that. By drinking a liter of salt water, by it flushing through my body, am I sort of not doing a water fast because of that? Now, I'd like to have a pseudoscientific explanation, whereas, your body will retain a certain amount of salt. This will affect your circulation or digestion or something, because it seems to me logically that during the 40-day master cleanse, I would do this every morning religiously, and it would clear things out. And now when I do feel the need, I do it, and it clears things out and I feel better. So the logical part is, if there's toxins in me, and I know they're toxins because when they come out, they're completely black. It's not just like a normal bowel movement. They're flushed out and they're black. So this is not good stuff for me. If I keep this inside and I'm not eating, it's going to take days for it to maybe make its way out. So please, someone, tell me why a water fast or should not include salt, or tell me that, a salt water flush does actually not affect your system. Very curious about that. I'd like to lay this down on camera so that whoever's seeing this in the future
It's minion
may
from
get
the future
the same
show.
help. So as usual, I'm going to say it. If you have any questions, comments, propositions, complaints, suggestions, maybe I said that already, michel@ago.com is my main email, and the blog is ago.com/Michel. Wish you all a wonderful evening, morning, afternoon, tea time, lunch break, breakfast, anything you may be going through, and I shall talk to you very shortly.
Yeah. Let's just go to day 16.
Hello and welcome to day 17 of my 40-day water fast. Well, today the big report has to do with the salt situation. In fact, I was asking a few days ago, should I do a salt water flush? Now, if you've not seen the prior episodes, the salt water flush is just a way of drinking salt water, and this will basically flow through your body because it's the same density as your blood, and rinse your body from your small intestine, large intestine, stomach, the whole thing. Now, my worry was, well, it wasn't really worry, I guess, but someone commented that if I was doing a saltwater flush, that I was in fact not doing a water cleanse, a water fast. So I inquired on cureZone.org.com as well. And it took a while, but a friend, actually, Nathan, found a specific post that wasn't quite scientific, but did give proof that perhaps saltwater enemas are a little too shocking for the system. What was suggested was normal enemas. The reason being is that the body doesn't absorb the salt quite the same way. Blood pressure won't go up. And also it won't irritate the stomach. And also the comment, which was quite interesting, was that anything that you eat, salt water or tea, or stimulates the digestive system. So during water fast, the big thing compared to a master cleanse is that the digestive system is truly shut down. Of course, the master cleanse doesn't stress it out too much. There's no solids. There's not much. There's not many things that are difficult to digest. But a water fast is pure nothing. So many people have also emailed me to say they're happy to know that I'm not taking in lions either. So no more salt water flushes, but I shall do enemas. So my big dilemma was sometimes you actually feel during the fast something shift into your lower belly, into your large intestines, and that is some kind of large release of toxins. So I don't want to carry this. Now I know I can't do the flush, or I will not do the water flush, but an enema will flush this out. Now, having taken a small course on liver cleanses, I do believe it's important to put a small amount of salt in the enema. But it's not the same thing as actually drinking it. So there you go. I'm gonna put the post to the on yogayak.com/Michel, my main log page as well. Put the specific link to the post that has the information regarding the saltwater flush, which I think was just perfect information, perfect timing. I needed to know that I could get rid of things without making myself sick. Other than that, I'm actually doing this a little bit early. I'm sorry if you hear traffic. I am close to a road. The reason I'm doing it now is because I'm quickly fading away. I've actually been up all night. I slept all day yesterday, got up enough for long enough to, what I thought was be long enough to blog. And that was around midnight, and the internet wasn't working quite well. And eventually it did come on. And when it did came on, I wrote the blog. And there's this transition. If I'm up at 1 o'clock, I'll be up all night. And I was up truly all night. And I haven't gone to bed yet, in the hopes that I will crash at a normal time. It's 5 o'clock here right now. And I'm hoping that I will be able to go to bed at a reasonable hour, start the day again tomorrow. I'd like to thank my father, who actually is the first investor in the 40-day water fast, since I'm using a software that I'll perfect in the next few days called Vlogit. That actually is going to help me vlog even when I'm tired. As I go on, I can't spend the 2 hours editing, and this little software does intros and outros and looks a little bit silly now when I need to configure it for it to be nice. But one little closing thing that might be interesting is I was able to put just a still pictures of every day that I've done so far, maybe missing one day. And perhaps I'll accelerate this, but I think it's a good way to close a show and just seeing the progress. So thank you very much for watching today. I wish you a wonderful evening. Any questions or comments, please visit my blog at ago.Unfortunately, or my email, sounds like the reverse, michel@ago.Unfortunately. I don't even have my little headline that says that. I'll work on that. But I am just too tired to do much today. So here's just a little ending to show the pictures. Now you're going to be hearing a little bit of an audio track. This is my friend Jerry Dufoin. And you can also shortly, hopefully, find more of his work on ubiac.com. And a little talk. See you soon.
I forgot about this completely. Alright, let's jump over to the next day. I kind of want to do it fast. It's a lot of times I seem to say the exact same things. It's fascinating. I always remember these, but I haven't seen them in 16 years. So,
hello and welcome to day 18 of my 40-day water fast. Had a wonderful night's sleep yesterday and today. In fact, last night I went to bed around 10:30 after having stayed up all day and slept like a log. And slept like a baby. And from the baby, I've now moved on to an 80-year-old because I'm now appreciating naps. Yes, I'm having naps, and I don't think I've ever had naps before. So my energy seems to be quite high when I'm awake, but I do tend to just get tired a little bit. And again, it's a different tired than from, having done too much exercise. It's this sort of deep down, sort of gotta go nappy type feeling. So it is qualitatively different than being tired from lack of sleep. So it's a lack of energy. It's interesting to see how in one day my energy goes up, my energy goes down. That very well might have to do with how my body is processing things. My urine had gone from very clear to being excessively yellow, bright orange, dark orange. So it's yay, kaleidoscope of pee. So the big item I'd like to discuss today is the possibility of either ending the fast early, which has always been a possibility because I'm going to listen to my body. When I am going to be hungry, I will stop fasting. But one major reason is that I may have to return to Canada, or in fact, I am returning to Canada. It is a choice that I am making. My mother has breast cancer, and I have known this actually for a few weeks now. And wanted to mention it on camera, held back a little bit, but it has been affecting me, obviously. So I'm in Thailand. I haven't seen my mom in 2 years, and since she'll be starting chemo in 4 weeks, I'd very much like to go and be with her during the chemo and be with her before the chemo as well, and spend some time with her. So that would be a return to Eastern Canada. and more specifically Moncton, New Brunswick, where I spent most of my childhood, well, close to where I spent my childhood. I'm actually from Bay St. Anne, New Brunswick. So the decision comes at an interesting time because the 40 days are not going to be up for, well, we can do the math, quite a while now, 22 days. And I'd like to head home before 22 days. So the question that I'm posing myself, that I'm going to post to probably curezone.org, it seems to be a place that I get answers from, is can I risk doing a flight from Thailand to the east coast of Canada, literally around the world, halfway around the world, while I'm doing a water fast? Now, I'm calculating how much energy I have. What do I do? The big thing, I think, is actually just getting to the flight, packing my computer, packing my pack sack, and lifting these heavy objects to the city of Chiang Mai, which is a 4-hour bus ride through the mountains from here. So the decision to go is going to be based on what is exhaustion during a water fast and how much should I dare exert myself. Now, why not just end the water fast before? Well, I'm quite enjoying this. It's been difficult to get to 18 days, yet I feel that there's subtle differences in my body that are urging me to keep going. There's a subtlety to my thought that is not always easy, I have to admit. There's openings and feelings and things that tend to come up a bit like a meditation, a meditation retreat, for example. So since I'm experiencing this, I'm enjoying it, then why not perhaps risk flying on an international flight? I mean, I'm going to be sleeping for 12 hours or 16. It is a very long flight via China Air to Vancouver and then a connecting flight across a very big country. So I have to decide. So if anyone out there watching has any experience with this, has even flown before while doing a water fast, I'd very much like to hear comments. And I'm going to try to make a decision rather quickly. So it could be exciting to have you all follow along as I go around the world during my water fast, maybe feebly talking to the camera in a plane. But I don't want to risk things like my health. So I'm wondering if my immune system is actually perhaps lower. I'm always worried in an airplane, since it's such a small, confined area with not greatly circulating air, that you were prone to catch flying thingamajigs. I was going to say diseases, but microbes or colds or simple things. So I will ask, so this is what I'm faced with, to end the fast shortly so that I can prepare and have the strength needed to carry things, or to, believe in myself and believe that I can do this. It could be foolish. I'll admit that it might be foolish. So I want to make an educated decision. And part of my education these days is the internet.
I wasn't
So
sure.
I will read, ask, and listen to myself as well. So wishing you all a wonderful day, evening. If there's any questions, please email me at michel@yogayak.com.
So in view of this video, hindsight being what it is, Mom did get over the cancer. Chemo went on. A few years after, not exactly sure how many years after, but there was a class action lawsuit that my mother and other women won in Canada. I believe 50,000 women had gone up against the pharmaceutical that, I believe it was the form of estrogen that they had been given during their menopause that have been proven to bring about that breast cancer. Now, there's also, and this is delicate, and I have to be careful how I verbalize all this, but there was also a belief that a lot of women were forced in getting tested and having medical procedures that might not have been necessary at the time. So the pharmaceutical industry had paid out to my mother. And I have to say, in 2021, Mom passed away 6 months after receiving something else from the pharmaceutical industry, like many people did. That's a very difficult conversation that I'm not going to have here, but that when we watched my second fast, And when I do another fast coming up, I hope I'm able to find the words to verbalize how I went through this and what happened and my beliefs as of today. But right now, let's go on to day number 19, and we'll see how this turned out. We're able to understand more about my first water fast, and this will lead me to the second fast in another series of videos or another video.
Hello and welcome to day 19 of my 40-day water fast. Well, today, as promised a few weeks back, in fact, I'm going to play what is called the cleansing breath. This is a full class found on ago..Com. Usually people have to pay for it, but if you're watching day 20 and you're interested, then here's a little treat. And it's actually quite important during fasting. Perhaps not absolutely necessary, but definitely helpful. So, in case people come back to this shortly or daily during a fast, won't talk any longer and let Kavita Maharaj, who is the teacher who will teach this class, introduce the class and how it goes. I'll see you after the class.
The next pranayama we're going to work on is called the cleansing breath.
So there's a link below to that video that is on the Relax24 YouTube channel. So the cleansing breath, if you want to do it, it's not just for water fasting, it's obviously for cleansing in general. And let's see how I ended this day 19 video.
I hope you enjoyed the cleansing breath, and notice that she also mentioned that it's usually done at the end of a yoga practice, just before the relaxation part of the practice. Now, a class that is completely free, that is available on Yoga Yak, that is finely tuned, well, not finely tuned, but it does contain a lot of postures that are very good for people that are fasting, is the Easy Hatha ground flow, or Easy Hatha Yoga ground flow. Now, this class is with Diane and available on Yoga Yak, as I've mentioned, completely free. So day 19, well, in fact, I'm cheating because I'll be doing day 19 and day 20 together. Yesterday, which was actually day 19, was incredibly difficult. I was very tired. I had slept during the day and then only stayed up a lot of the night and ended up sleeping only 2 hours and then slept most of the day, like literally most of the day, and then I went to sleep around 8 o'clock for the night completely. So I have been noticing that my ability to work has gone down amazingly. So I am going to do more bed rest. And in fact, the big question in the last post, the last vlog, was should I end the fast because of going back to Canada? And I'm now more and more inclined to actually end the fast. I'm actually 90% certain that I will end the fast in the next few days. Because I do need the energy enough to gather my things and, do a 4-hour bus trip, get plane tickets, and then the international flying and everything. So it's not very a sad moment because, as I said in the beginning, it's one day at a time, and that I wasn't dead set on doing 40 days, but rather was going to listen to my body and be aware of the circumstances surrounding my life. So perhaps that is one good thing to mention to other people that are fasting. Be easy on yourself, come out of it when you need to, and, that's basically it. So thank you very much for watching day 19. If there's any questions or comments, even if this is 5 months later and we're no longer June, please email me at michel@yogayak.com.
All right, let's jump right into day 20. Spoiler alert, there's only 2 videos left in this series because day 21 was going to be my last day. So let's see, day 20 here.
Hello and welcome to day 20 of my 40-day water fast. As I've said in the last post, this is actually day 19 and 20 combined, because yesterday I could just not make it to the computer, or rather I did, but could not do take the energy to do the vlog. Behind me is actually where we started. Up in the hills over there is where I filmed for day 1, talking about the region of Thailand I'm in, which is a little town called Pai. And in fact, this is the Pai River as viewed from on top of the Pai River. So day 20 is barely started, and what I do have to report on is after sleeping for almost 20 hours straight, I do have the energy, but I do know that that energy will go down quite rapidly. And in fact, I'm wanting to do the vlog now, get it out there now, before I do lose too much energy. Thank you very much for everyone who's commented about, thanking me for mentioning all the things I have mentioned, but specifically thank you for wishing my mother well. So I am going back to Canada shortly, and as I mentioned in the last post, I do believe that I am going to end the fast. We'll have more information about that tomorrow, and I will, of course, end the fast live on camera, but perhaps I will change my mind and continue. It's interesting as well to note that I have lost a tremendous amount of weight. And in fact, the energy needed to hold up this camera is a little too much. I have lost a tremendous amount of weight. Today I weighed myself at 77 kilograms. And that is quite a loss. Not a loss, but a weight reduction. Now you can see my cheekbones are sunk in. Now I'm going to gain this weight back in quite rapidly, in fact. Not all of it, but some of it, so that we'll have a healthier sheen to me, or shine. What I want to mention is that people are getting worried. So the people that surround me are seeing my cheeks getting sunken and all this, and it's very difficult not to embark on what people are saying about me. You know, do I look sick? Do I feel... people saying how I look influences how I feel. So now I understand how it is a very personal thing. And it's hard to detach oneself from the comments of those that surround you. So although I know there's a tremendous amount of healing going on in my body, it's difficult to, not listen to what other people are saying. And even knowing that people are worried worries me. So that is slightly a motivation to end the fast early. I think obviously the biggest thing is international flights do not appeal to me on an empty stomach. The stress of waiting in an airport and what will happen and security and all these things. I think perhaps I could deal with it because I do have a calmness around me, but I'm just uncertain, and I'd rather not risk it than risk it and then find myself
I do it.
faint and kneeling down. Because I am more faint now. I have to get up slowly, and I do have to drop on one knee once in a while, hang onto the wall.
Really helps with that.
And these are things that, of course, my friends probably don't like knowing, but the goal here is not to censor myself, but just report. So day 20, tomorrow will be day 21, which I was looking forward to as a milestone. It seems to be day 40 is a magic date, and then there's day 21. So I shall talk to you all tomorrow. Questions or comments at any time after this is posted, even if it's a year. My name is Michel, and the email is michel@yogayak.com. And I wish you all a wonderful evening, night, afternoon, morning, mid-morning, whatever time it is where you are in the world at this moment. Thank you, and love and light.
So let's just jump right into day 21 here.
Hello, and welcome to day 21 of my 21-day water fast. Well, I was aiming for 40 days, but a few things have come up. As I've mentioned in prior posts, going back to Canada, my mother has breast cancer and will be having chemotherapy shortly. So I want to get there a little early, be with her before, and be supportive and with her during the chemotherapy. So one of the factors. The other factor is I've actually been hungry for 4 days, and I kept saying during the fast that if ever I was hungry, I'd listen to my body and stop the fast.
Now I know.
Didn't really listen because I didn't really know what was going on the first time I've had a water fast. So I kept on going. So I'm leaving Thailand in 10 days. Going to stop the water fast today, day 21, to give my body time to gather energies. It's surprising. I did a lot of research on Curazone and other websites, or a lot of Google, because I couldn't even find really good websites on ending the fast. And it's really surprising the lack of information that I was able to find concerning ending a fast. Curazone is full of people talking about ending it with this or that, eggs, rice, second day. Some people juice fast for the same amount of time as you water fasted. So it's quite difficult to get a good idea of what's going on. Today, I will break my fast with orange juice watered down with water. I actually brought all of my kit to do that, and I'm not going to quite do it now.
Squeezed. That's gonna be the only one.
I'll do it a little bit later, although it is very tempting. I squeezed the orange juice myself, and it was very, very hard not to wet my lips with it, because it is extremely fresh. So a few things I like to talk about is when I began the fast, I mentioned the reasons why I wanted to do a 40-day fast. Well, what has become of those reasons, or how have my reasons evolved? One of the reasons was soreness in my joints, sort of a swelling when I get up in the morning. It seems to be better now. I tend to feel that there's less swelling in my fingers, but it's still there. And interestingly enough, I was doing saltwater flushes a little bit. And then if you remember about 10 days ago, I started really questioning whether or not I should do saltwater flushes. And one of the answers mentioned that if you do saltwater flushes, you're adding salt to your body, even if it's not that much because it tends to go right through. But there is a certain amount that stays. I know this because sometimes you have a bowel movement the next day, and it's because of the saltwater flush. You get a feel for that. The gentleman who sent the comment essentially mentioned that the process of eliminating accumulated materials in the joints is basically breaking down salts. So if you give body salts, then it's not going to be drawing salts from different parts of the body. So after the saltwater flush stopped, or after I stopped doing them and uniquely did normal enemas, I did feel a slight sort of healing. Now, I'm going to stop the fast, but what I did find out about stopping is that I will continue cleansing. And as I slowly take in initially liquids and then some soft fruits, I will basically flush out even more toxins, and I will need to rest. So I'll probably be vlogging, maybe not every day, but sporadically, just to talk about the process. So maybe, in 2 days and then 4, and then to keep on going. Another reason for embarking on the fast was sadness. Now, I do have bouts of sadness, borderline depression, over the borderline depression. So it varies, and I tend to now understand that this is related to the food I eat. You eat junk food, it's because you feel a certain way that reinforces negative feelings. You eat more junk food, maybe consume alcohol. It is a whole complicated circle of things that feed each other, no pun intended, that help or keep the depression at bay, or the sadness. Now, there's a balance that has come over me in the last 21 days, brought about by the fasting, a centering feeling more as well. It's almost as if a calm pervades you. Now, will I be able to keep that? I will try to eat as well as possible to see if perhaps it is the foods that help me do that. So traditionally in the last 4 or 5 years of fasting, I found that my mental health is better when I'm done. So I do anticipate that as well. Now, my weight, I did want to fast because of my weight. I've lost probably around 25 pounds. Couldn't weigh myself today because the digital scale at the 7-Eleven was broken. And in this town, it seemed to be the only digital scale. So I last weighed myself at 77 kilograms,
Some people don't
which
like
is
this at all.
quite a
over the
weight
years.
loss. And in fact, I find my
bad.
cheeks have, sunken quite a bit. So I'm happy with the weight loss. And in fact, I feel skinny, which is kind of weird. So I am. And talking about the end of the fast as well, I need to be careful about what I eat, because the dangerous part is eating things that are fatty and oily immediately and gaining back the weight rapidly. So it's very important that I'm careful with what I'm going to eat.
My health, not just the weight.
The sleepless nights. This is, I guess, turning into the negative aspects of the fast and no longer talking about why I wanted to fast. But one side effect that was the most overpowering for me was the sleepless nights. Complete throwing off of my sleep patterns. Going to bed, not going to bed at night, sleeping during the day, getting up at crazy hours, then eventually turned into naps that lasted 15 hours. So get ready for that. And I read actually that some people find it lonely, the fasting experience, especially if they're up at night and they're not used to it. I'm a night owl myself usually, and I do like the quiet that the night brings. There's no vehicles going by. There's no, which is less roosters crowing, and that's crows. But There's less noise, so I tend to not feel lonely because I'm up at night. But if you are someone that always goes to bed at 10 o'clock and you find yourself up at 3, I can see how it could be difficult. So note that as a side effect that you might encounter. I'd like to thank many, many, many people. A lot of people have sent in emails. A lot of people have been wishing my mother safe healing and good health. Thank you very much for that, and thank you on behalf of my mother as well. I'd like to thank Jen, who is actually helping me here today as well, my partner in Yoga Yak, for supporting me and just really being there when I was tired and cranky and you need support, I think. And if you don't, then at least look towards the web or some kind of support form to which you can vent your fears or your worries and your happiness. It's a wonderful thing. It's certainly not about always being weak and all these things. There's an amazing amount of joy and energy that can come out of fasting. My mother and my father as well, I'd like to thank. And a lot of people on Facebook, friends that I hadn't spoken to in years, came out thanking me and encouraging me. Thank you very much for your encouragement. Nathan as well, my friend who I've connected with because of lucid dreaming. It seems that he had done fasting before and he was a big help. Leon as well in Vancouver, who's been an amazing help. And I stayed chipper during the whole thing, Leon, by the way. Leon worried me in the beginning because he saw my first post and he says, yeah, I'd like to see you smile like that after 15 days. Or was it 12? And I've mostly kept it up, and it's not really a facade. It's truly how I feel. Yeah. And lastly, perhaps for the thanking, I'd like to thank Vlad, who sent me an email when I was trying to decide whether or not I should end the fast to travel. And it was a very lucid email about be extremely careful of how you come out of the fast. For the next 10 days, I'll need to rest. At least the 2-3 days that are coming, I'll need to rest. And I got the impression that once I drank a little bit of this orange juice, which I'm going to do in 15 seconds, then I would need to chains to hold me down and bounce around. I'm sure I'll get that energy. But since Vlad mentioned that I will continue detoxing and I'll need rest, I'm really trying to, oh my God, it smells good. I'm really trying to integrate that lesson of resting. So here we go. First meal in 21 days. I'm going to water it down quite a lot.
I'm not sure if I would do more just
So
solids
the
instead,
vlog
but
will continue. If people have questions or
this
comments,
is
the
funny.
email is michel@yogayak.com. And I'll continue to answer questions and occasionally vlog. And I've also had suggestions that I continue vlogging, perhaps about other subjects. So I think in the near future, I will be vlogging about dreams and lucid dreaming, which is one of my passions in life. So here goes. Thank you very much for everyone for watching. And if you are fasting, have been fasting, or embarking on fasting, I wish you luck or congratulations. And if you have any questions, please feel free to... Just a minute.
I need to make a series of videos that's very long after a fast. This is okay.
It's
this is
diluted, so
great.
I don't have to drink it that slow, do I?
But it's the coming out of the
A
fast.
thermometer filling up with that red stuff. Is the heat coming up? So that's basically it. I wanted to thank everybody, and I guess I will be coming back in the next few days as well, but it feels like a milestone or an end of a small voyage. So thank you everyone from all different websites where I posted, and I think I'm done saying thank you for quite this second. So I wish you all a wonderful evening, night, morning, afternoon, tea time, breakfast. Well, it's turned into food times now, or another glass of water. See you soon. Love and light.
So without that much more comments, there will be another very long video, which is me commenting on my second water fast that I did in Costa Rica. That was a 26-day water fast. And after Costa Rica, I must have done a few that were 30 and one that was 40. And there should be another water fast coming out. And with today's technology, I should do it live and definitely do sort of an ongoing what's going to go on after the water fast. So I have lots to say, but this was about 16 years ago And I thank you very much for being here with me today. And I'll see you soon.